Above the sleeping city, the night Tokyo burned. The tranquil night over Tokyo was shattered on March 9, 1945, when the sky above erupted into a hellish inferno. It was a night that would be etched into history, a night when the heavens rained fire, and the earth below was cloaked in darkness and despair. This is the story of that fateful night, a tale of courage, futility, and the relentless machinery of war. As dusk fell over Tokyo, the city lay in restless slumber. The war had dragged on for years, and its scars were visible in the weary eyes of its inhabitants. The air was heavy with the tension of impending doom, yet life carried on with a semblance of normalcy. Families huddled in their homes, trying to maintain a veneer of routine amid the chaos of war. But beneath the surface, fear simmered. Far above, in the frigid altitudes of the night sky, more than 300 American B-29 Superfortress bombers cut through the darkness. Each aircraft was a colossal machine of war, designed to deliver death and destruction with chilling efficiency. Inside the bombers, crews of young men steeled themselves for the mission ahead, their faces set with grim determination. They knew the stakes. They understood the enormity of their task. The operation was codenamed Meetinghouse, a strategic bombing offensive aimed at breaking the backbone of Japan's war industry. The target, Tokyo, the heart of the Japanese Empire. The plan was devastatingly simple: to ignite a firestorm that would consume the city and cripple its capacity to wage war. As the bombers approached the outskirts of Tokyo, the first wave unleashed its deadly cargo. Thousands of incendiary bombs, filled with a jellied mixture of gasoline and rubber known as napalm, fell from the sky like fiery rain. They exploded on impact, releasing a torrent of flames that spread with merciless speed. The wooden structures of Tokyo, tightly packed and dry from the winter months, provided perfect tinder for the Inferno. Below, chaos reigned. Air raid sirens wailed, piercing the night and sending waves of panic through the streets. Residents scrambled to gather their belongings, clutching at children and the elderly as they fled towards the safety of air raid shelters. But safety was an illusion. The firestorm was all-consuming, reducing entire neighborhoods to smoldering ruins. In the midst of this maelstrom, Japanese fighter pilots scrambled into the night sky. Their aircraft were outmatched and outnumbered, yet they ascended into the darkness with unwavering resolve. They knew their chances were slim. The B-29s flew higher and faster than any Japanese fighter could reach. But duty and honor compelled them to fight, to defend their homeland against the invaders. As the night wore on, the city of Tokyo transformed into a living nightmare. The incendiary bombs created a vortex of fire, a phenomenon known as a firestorm, where the intense heat generated powerful winds that fanned the flames further. The conflagration consumed everything in its path, leaping from house to house with terrifying speed. The air was thick with smoke and ash, turning day into night and choking those who struggled to breathe. In the skies above, the B-29 crews watched the devastation unfold below. Many were conflicted, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of the destruction they wrought. War had stripped away the layers of humanity, leaving only the stark reality of survival and victory. Yet amid the horror, there was a sense of grim satisfaction. The mission had succeeded beyond their wildest expectations. On the ground, The Japanese authorities struggled to respond. Firefighters battled valiantly against the Inferno, but their efforts were futile against the sheer scale of the disaster. The flames roared with the fury of 1,000 storms, consuming the city with a voracious appetite. In the end, more than 16 square miles of Tokyo lay in ruins, and over 100,000 people perished in the flames. More lives lost in a single night than in the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined. As dawn broke over the charred remains of Tokyo, the full extent of the devastation became clear. The city, once a vibrant hub of life and culture, lay in smoldering ruins. The survivors emerged from their shelters, dazed and disoriented, to find their world irrevocably altered. The streets were littered with debris, the air heavy with the acrid stench of smoke and death. Amid the ruins, stories of heroism and sacrifice emerged. Neighbors helped one another escape the flames, risking their lives to save those trapped in the Inferno. Families clung together, united in their grief and determination to rebuild what had been lost. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope could flicker like a candle in the night. For the Japanese fighter pilots who had taken to the skies, the night was a bitter reminder of their helplessness. They had fought with honor and valor, but their efforts had been in vain. The B-29s were untouchable, their technological superiority insurmountable. Yet, despite the odds, they would continue to fly, to fight, to defend their homeland against the inevitable tide of destruction. Back in the United States, news of the raid was met with a mix of triumph and unease. The success of the mission was undeniable, a significant blow to Japan's war effort. Yet the cost in human lives was staggering, a sobering reminder of the brutal calculus of war. As the war dragged on, the ethical implications of strategic bombing would continue to haunt those who had orchestrated and carried out the attacks. In the grand tapestry of history, the Tokyo firebombing was a pivotal moment, a turning point that foreshadowed the end of the war and the dawn of a new era. It was a night when the sky became a battlefield, and courage met futility in a dance of death and destruction. Above all, it was a testament to the devastating power of modern warfare and the indomitable spirit of those who endure its horrors. As the years passed, the scars of that night slowly healed, but the memory lingered, a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the destructive power of human conflict. Tokyo rose from the ashes, rebuilt and reborn, a testament to the resilience and determination of its people. Yet the lessons of that night remain etched in the annals of history, a stark warning of the perils of war and the enduring hope for peace. After the Inferno, the ashes of Tokyo. The morning light cast an eerie glow over Tokyo on March 10, 1945, revealing a city that had been reduced to a grim tableau of devastation. The firebombing raid by the United States Army Air Forces had ended just a few hours earlier, but its aftermath was only beginning to unfold. The once bustling metropolis, known for its crowded streets and vibrant life, was now a silent expanse of smoldering ruins. This is the story of that aftermath, a tale of grief, survival, and the unyielding human spirit determined to rise from the ashes. The Night of Fire. The operation, known as Meetinghouse, was devastatingly effective. In the span of a few short hours, over 300 B-29 bombers released approximately 1,665 tons of incendiary bombs over Tokyo. The bombs, filled with napalm, ignited a firestorm that devoured everything in its path. The densely populated residential and industrial areas, built largely of wood and paper, proved tragically vulnerable. The Inferno consumed 16 square miles of the city, killing an estimated 100,000 people and leaving over 1 million homeless. As the fires raged, families huddled together, seeking shelter in rivers or any open space free of flames. Parents clutched their children, and neighbors helped one another in desperate attempts to flee the heat and suffocation. The flames sucked the oxygen from the air, creating windstorms that fed the fire and made escape even more difficult. The morning after. When dawn broke, the scene was apocalyptic. Buildings stood skeletonized, mere shadows of their former selves. Streets were indistinguishable, covered in a thick layer of ash and debris. Bodies lay scattered, some recognizable, others charred beyond recognition. The air was thick and acrid with smoke, irritating the eyes and lungs of those who wandered through the ruins in shock and disbelief. Survivors emerged, their faces etched with exhaustion and despair. Many were in search of family members, hoping against hope to find loved ones alive. The task was daunting, as entire neighborhoods had been wiped out, and the landscape was unrecognizable. Among the ruins, firefighters continued their grim work. Though the major fires had subsided, smaller blazes persisted, threatening to reignite the devastation. The firefighters, many of whom had lost their own homes and families, worked tirelessly, their efforts both heroic and heartbreaking. Meanwhile, on distant air bases in the Pacific, the American crews who had carried out the raid grappled with the enormity of their actions. For many, the mission had been a strategic success, a necessary step to bring Japan closer to surrender and end the war. Yet the scale of civilian casualties weighed heavily on their consciences. In interviews and personal diaries, some airmen expressed a sense of duty fulfilled, believing the attack would shorten the war and save lives in the long run. Others, however, were haunted by the images of the burning city and the knowledge of the human suffering they had inflicted. The moral complexities of war left deep scars on both sides of the conflict. Survival and resilience. In the days and weeks that followed, the people of Tokyo faced the monumental task of survival. With homes destroyed and basic necessities scarce, the challenges were immense. Makeshift shelters sprang up amidst the ruins, as families sought to provide some semblance of normalcy for their children. Food, water, and medical supplies were in short supply, and the threat of disease loomed large. Despite these hardships, the resilience of the survivors shone through. Communities banded together, sharing resources and supporting one another. Stories of kindness and bravery emerged, of strangers taking in orphaned children, of neighbors pooling food, of doctors and nurses working tirelessly to care for the injured. The Japanese government, though overwhelmed by the scale of the disaster, mobilized efforts to provide relief. Aid stations were established, and efforts to rebuild infrastructure began almost immediately. The road to recovery would be long and arduous, but the determination of the people was unwavering. Cultural and historical reflection. The firebombing of Tokyo left an indelible mark on the city and its inhabitants, shaping their collective memory and cultural identity. For many Japanese, the event became a symbol of the horrors of war and the resilience of the human spirit. It prompted reflections on the nature of conflict and the value of peace, themes that resonated deeply in the post-war era. In the years that followed, Tokyo would rise from its ashes, transformed and rebuilt. The scars of the past were not forgotten, but they served as a powerful reminder of the city's strength and determination. As modern Tokyo emerged, with its towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, the memory of that fateful night remained a poignant chapter in its history. Conclusion. The aftermath of the firebombing of Tokyo is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. It is a story of survival, of communities coming together to rebuild and support one another. It is also a sobering reminder of the destructive power of war and the profound impact it has on human lives. As we reflect on this chapter of history, we are reminded of the importance of remembering the past, honoring the memories of those who suffered, and striving for a future where peace prevails over conflict. The ashes of Tokyo tell a story not just of destruction, but of hope, resilience, and the enduring strength of the human spirit.